Yo, what is up, all you stone cold super fly illmatic fish keeping fucking intelligence aquatics with me, Aquafunk. And today we're gonna be talking about the 5 most asked questions about angelfish.
You will not be able to stay home, brother.
Yo, what is up, all you stone cold super fly illmatic?
You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out.
5 most asked questions.
The first revolution is when you change your mind about how you look at things.
Something that might get me in a little bit of hot water.
And see that there might be another way to look at it that you have not been shown.
Don't get it twisted. Just because angels
The revolution will put you in the driver's seat.
empty, calm down.
The revolution will not be televised, not be televised. There be no rerun, brothers and sisters. The revolution will be live.
Now, these 5 questions are questions that no matter how many times they're mentioned through myself or other YouTubers, or even information given on forums or whatnot, these questions keep coming up. So these must be the biggies, and I'm going to go ahead and address them for you. Not only that, I also got to disclose something that might get me in a little bit of hot water with angelfish breeders, but I feel it's important for the purposes of, what's the word I'm looking for? Perspective. If you could please do me the biggest favor of subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and most importantly, hit that thumbs up. You do not know how important it is that you hit that thumbs up. It don't cost you nothing. It don't take no time. Just slide your little thumb up and bloop, hit the thumbs up. It helps my channel tremendously so that I can grow and give more information to more people who might need it out there. So thank you in advance. All right, so one question that I get all the time is where to find quality angelfish. And the answer to that is this. There's not one place or one specific type of place you can go to get a quality angelfish. The truth of the matter is, no matter where you get them from, whether it be a super top-notch breeder or Petco or PetSmart or whatever, ultimately the important part when getting angelfish is picking the right ones out. One of the reasons why angelfish have so many, I mean up to 400, 600 eggs every time they lay eggs, is because not all of them survive. Not all of them are winners, you know. So basically it's the law of averages when it comes to that. So for instance, myself, right, I've had some very good, as far as specimens go, male and female, incredible specimens, everything perfect on these fish have fried, and not all of them were perfect. Some of them were deformed, some of them were sickly, some of them were small, and the ones the strongest survive. So it doesn't matter where you get them from, really. Picking them out is key. You want to pick out the ones that are most lively with their fins or open. I've done a video on this. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it in the description. But you want to pick out the ones that are very lively, and a lot of times the most aggressive ones are the healthiest. With their fins all open, they're swimming around the middle of the tank. They're eating. Their fins are not deformed. One of the biggest deformations I see on angelfish that people don't realize is their pectoral fins, which is those 2 long fins that dangle from the front. People are so mesmerized by that dorsal fin, they don't look down and realize, oh, it only has one of those pectoral fins, or the 2 pectoral fins that's supposed to be on either side of the fish is actually, one is in the middle and one is on the right. So it's picking out the fish is the important thing when getting angelfish. Now, I'm not saying that getting them from a private breeder is the same as getting them from anywhere else. Your chances are higher getting them from a private breeder, but even then you have to think about, is it a private breeder where that you know, or one online? Because if it's one online, they can pretty much send you anything. You don't know. If it's somewhere where you can go, somewhere local, and you can see the parents, or even you know that the water is similar to your water, so the pH is pretty much similar. Yeah, those are all things that can make, these are all factors that can make your chances better, but ultimately it's you picking out your fish. Fun fact, a lot of these pet stores get their angelfish from the same place, regardless if they're from Petco or PetSmart or mom and pop. There's big suppliers out there that supply many stores. So, you know, you might just be getting the same type of fish from Petco as Eddie's pet store. You know what I'm saying? Okie dokie pokey. We talking about grub. We're talking about vittles. talk about food, fish food. What to feed my angelfish? Well, angelfish are a cichlid, right? Now, not all cichlids have exactly the same diet, but they're pretty much omnivorous, and they lean towards the meaty side. So when it comes to feeding your angels, you want to feed them a high protein diet that they will eat on a regular basis. I don't care how good the food is. I don't care what the name of the food is. I don't care how much you spent on the food. If they don't eat it, that's money thrown out the window, because you got this great food that your fish don't eat. Personally, I like to feed my fish a high protein diet, pellets, floating or slow sinking, and throw some veggie matter in there, because it helps their digestive tract. It helps everything move smoothly. You know what I'm saying? I also vary that. Sometimes I'll get food from different. Not sometimes. I pretty much do it all the time. I'll get food from different manufacturers, because different manufacturers put different amounts of this, that, and other. So I like to vary their diet. By doing that, I don't really ever have a problem with my fish not eating anything I put in there, because they're so used to eating different stuff. Alright, what fish can you put in with your angelfish? Angelfish tank mates compatibility. I suggest, as a general rule, this. You put them with semi-aggressive cichlids. Geophagus are great. You can put them with a bunch of, you can put them with Aquariums, Severums. Don't get it twisted. Just because angels are called angels and they look majestic, they're not all that delicate. They can live. I have my fish living with Jack Dempsey's and convicts, and they can live with a multitude of, as long as the fish is not uber aggressive, just a killer, and they're roughly the same. You can pretty much put them together. You want to stay away from fin nippers, of course, and you want to stay away from fish that can fit in the angel's mouth, neons, guppies, and stuff like that. But I've noticed something. In my personal opinion, I believe that the angelfish shape is so odd that other fish, for instance cichlids, South American and Central American cichlids, do not see them as a equal or a threat. You'll see fish of similar size and shape, fight for dominance, or just fight because it's two males, because they look similar. So, that's what they do. But when it comes to the angelfish, a lot of times they go unnoticed by a lot of other semi-aggressive to slightly aggressive fish. And a lot of it's because their shape is so unusual, they're not mistaken for a threat. So, but I would keep the angel as big as possible compared to its tank mate. If you're putting them with cichlids, for instance, South American cichlids, I would try and keep the angels bigger. But yeah, they finding tank mates for angel are not hard. You just have to stop thinking of them as so delicate. How do I know if my angelfish is a male or a female? Alright, so check it out. If anybody tells you they can tell a male from a female just by looking at it with 100% certainty, lies! You can take pretty good guesses. Me personally, I could look at an angelfish, a full-grown one, and give you a very high correct ratio of correctness. But I'm not 100%. There's no one that can be 100% just by looking at an angelfish. I mean, there are certain characteristics that a male is supposed to have, but it's not 100 guarantee that he has it. For instance, males are supposed to have like a hump on their head. I have seen males with no hump on their head. I have seen females with a slight hump where if you're like, oh, that's probably a male. No, it was a female. The only 100% guaranteed way to tell if an angelfish is a male and female is if their breeding tubes are showing, which only happens when they are breeding. So here's the best way to tell if an angelfish, and with 100% certainty, that an angelfish is a male or female. A male angelfish has a small, pointy breeding tube that looks like this, like a pencil tip, right? And it's little, right? It's a little triangular tube that comes out from underneath him. Whereas a female has a more slightly bigger, blunt, rounded tube like that. That's the only way you can tell. if an angelfish is a male or a female. Alright, so here it is. The number one question people ask me pertaining to angelfish. How many fish can I keep in my tank? How many angelfish can I keep in my aquarium? Now, that I always sigh a little bit when people ask me that. Not because I'm irritated that they're asking me. I sigh a little bit because I'm about to go into a whole big thing, and there's a lot of variables. First of all, when people ask me how many fish they can put in their aquarium, it's actually a two-part question. They actually want to know two things. They want to know how many gallons per fish they can have, and how many fish in an aquarium will live peacefully, because those are two different scenarios that will crisscross from time to time. For instance, angelfish grow tall, right? They don't grow long like this. They grow tall like that, you know, with the front. So you want to have a tall tank. For instance, a 20 long would be a bad idea for angelfish, whereas a 20 high, fine. Now, let's get with the how many gallons per angelfish. I'm going to say, okay, that's so difficult to tell. If you had one 20-gallon tank, just one tank that's 20 gallons, I would say you can have one angelfish in there. But at the same time, I breed angelfish in 20-gallon tanks, so that's a pair for a 10-gallon tank. I mean, sorry, for a 20-gallon tank. But mind you, it's for breeding purposes. A 55-gallon tank, I suggest having only 6 angelfish in there. Now, a lot of people cannot, wrap their head around the fact that they bought an angelfish that is this big and only putting 6 in a 55. Well, please be patient. They get bigger. They get as big as your hand. And even then, people's like, well, there's still a lot of room. Well, here's the deal. Here's the problem. If you get 6 angels in an aquarium and you take care of them properly, they will breed on you. So that means 2 angelfish are going to take over half the tank, and the other 4 are going to be stuck on the other half. So that's why I say 6 angelfish for a 55-gallon tank. I have seen, and here's a little insider secret, where I think a lot of angelfish breeders down here in Florida might get upset that I'm letting you guys know about this secret. Most of the angelfish breeders that I've seen that sell for profit, and I'm talking about, this is what, they're not YouTubers. They're they got property, they got a greenhouse or whatever, and they're selling a lot of angelfish. They breed angelfish in 10-gallon tanks. They've been doing it for years. It's the whole, the most amount of bang for their buck. But yeah, I've seen all these breeders breed in 10-gallon tanks. On YouTube, you see people doing it in 20-gallon tanks, and a lot of that is because of they don't want to get, people don't want to get destroyed by, public opinion. Oh my God, that's so terrible. But the truth is, a lot of people in Florida that breed angel for money do it in 10-gallon tanks. So just give you a little perspective. That's how your fish are grown in 10-gallon tanks. But you would never put an angelfish in a 10-gallon tank at full grown. But angelfish continue to be the #1 cichlid sold in America, probably throughout the world, in my opinion. And chances are their parents came out of a 10-gallon tank. It's that whole assembly line mentality, which I know is terrible. But without that mentality, there wouldn't be as many angelfish available for us on the market today. So, wrap your head around that one.